What's the trade secret you know from working the industry? If you call a call center of any kind, and the person you're talking to puts you on hold with no hold music, they can hear everything you're saying. I worked in an insurance call center when I was really young. I had so many people accidentally confess to insurance fraud that way. Vinegar is the best thing to get your cutlery shiny in a restaurant, bar. When you shop at Walmart, do you sometimes hear the announcement saying security cameras to zone 6? Or another number? They play them randomly in the hopes that someone who might be stealing will get paranoid thinking they're being watched, and will decide not to shoplift. Arcade crane games have knobs inside that let you control how strong the claw grabs. So you basically make the claw really weak strength, and then there's a setting in the motherboard to make the claw go full power after a certain amount of plays. Whatever the arcade or owner decides how often they want people to actually win. As a freelance photographer, most magazines and newspapers don't pay you for using your photos. They offer you photo credit only. If you ask to be paid, they just get a similar photo from someone else. A certain 48 inches interstate natural gas pipeline valve is being kept open by a strategically placed piece of 2x4 lumber. If the valve was closed, millions of people would be without nat gas fairly quickly. If you are involuntarily kicked off a flight because of oversales, you can demand cash instead of a voucher. Scroll down to involuntary. Things may have changed in the past few years, but generally speaking plastic is hardly ever recycled anymore. It used to be shipped to China for processing, but even they had a hard time with the amount of pollution and toxic waste produced by recycling it. Now it will get shipped to other countries in Asia where more often than not it just gets dumped into the Pacific Ocean. A lot of municipalities just add it to a landfill. On the other end of the spectrum, aluminum recycling is amazing. I doubt this will be too interesting to most, but if you buy 100 tons of straight rubber, you're actually only getting like 95 tons of steel. ASTM allows the rubber to be up to 6% lighter than the nominal weight per foot, and so it saves on raw material if you aim to run for 5% light. However, rubber is tested based on the nominal weight per foot, so two pieces of rubber with the same strength will be able to hold the same amount of force, even if one is thinner than the other. If you ship through FedEx Express, if you're sending many packages, envelopes to a single stop, ship one priority overnight, and the rest standard. They'll be delivered together with the priority package. Having a crew that can pass a drug test is not the same as having a drug-free crew. If a medical professional ever suggests you get a second opinion, e.g., a nurse at the doctor's office, it can be code for they are concerned about the quality of the medical care you are currently receiving, and that you really should get that second opinion. On any piece of machinery, if the welds you see look like crap, the welds you don't see are even worse. Worked in high-end golf clubs for years. Almost all politicians register their handicap scores under a false name. The USGA handicap records are technically public information, and people would be pretty pissed if they knew how much time these guys actually spent playing golf. In the United States, movie theaters spend more money on the bags for popcorn than the popcorn itself. Attorneys can really only remember the details of about 20 to 40 cases at a time. So if you call your attorney after about a month or two, depending on the firm and how busy they are, they likely completely forgot what happened to you and are working off a set of notes to pretend they have any clue who you are, especially if you've really only interacted with them via phone other than one time in person for an intake or whatever. All emergency rooms are not equal emergency rooms. In my hospital, we don't have any sort of OB, pediatrics or any of that. Whenever a kid comes in, or worse a baby, the nurses and doctors are all in a panic. Not because they are incompetent, but because that's not what our hospital does regularly. Sure, we will stabilize to the best of our ability and we will immediately call the local children's hospital. But if you have a child, for example, in distress, and you have multiple hospitals nearby, try being aware beforehand which one is the best for yours or your child's needs. You don't want to rush into an ER where there isn't someone who can confidently and effectively treat you. That the reason why celebrities always look good in whatever they wear is that the clothing is tailored to their exact measurements. Shoppers will buy the size closest to, take it to someone to alter, and then deliver it. Yes. Even the shirts. Calls are not being answered in the order received. We actually did find and file that bug in your favorite video game. Our leadership just decided it was okay to ship with it. Movie industry. Unless you are absolutely breathtaking in your audition. Which does happen, don't get me wrong. There is a list of 30 people each studio prioritizes to be in their major films. When you play match 3 games, like Candy Crush Saga, after beating a few levels the game will make it impossible for you to continue. You will be getting impossible odds. If you put your device aside and return after several hours or a day later, you will find the previously impossible level to be easy AF. It is a mechanism to prevent people from burning through hundreds of levels in one go. For every publicly announced data breach, whether that be a confirmed leak or the identification of a security flaw, there are 50 other such incidents that companies swept under the rug. Data security is complicated, and most organizations don't have the proper expertise to secure their data. Most electronic medical records allow providers to put pop-up warnings in your chart if you act verbally or physically aggressive. If you yelled at the nurse in 2017, the medical assistant you called today begging for a last minute appointment can see it. Casinos don't need to cheat. We have already rigged the game against you. Tourism industry here. Look up when peak season is for the destination you're looking at. There are usually cheaper prices at the beginning and end of the season. Try to book at the beginning of the season. Seasonal workers work themselves ragged and are usually completely burnt out at the end. At the beginning of the season, everyone is stoked to start making money again. Work for an optometrist. If you find a pair of glasses in a clinic that you like, they are likely marked up X2, 5, 3. There should be a number on the inside arm of the frame. It should be like AC 2073 or something like that. Look that up online and buy it straight from the manufacturer. Probably will be less than $100. Don't pay full price for glasses. Edit. Marked up times 2, 5 or 3, not percent. The urine pregnancy test you take at the doctor's is the same as the Dollar Tree one. If you are buying software for your workplace, get a quote and then go silent until it's the end of the quarter. Then call the sales rep and tell them you can buy it today but only have enough budget for 70% of the cost. Your chances for a discount go way up at the end of the quarter. At any given point in time, roughly 10-20% of the entire internet is a dev team in an absolute panic state. The websites you use for every aspect of your life are held together with duct tape and shoestrings. The Canadian legal system is extremely underfunded and overwhelmed. If you are being sued by the Crown government for a non-violent offense, you can literally filibuster the court into dropping your case. In some instances, most fossils in museums are replicas. These days they're usually plastic casts from silicone molds of real fossils. But 3D printed replicas made from high-resolution scans are becoming more and more a part of things. When moving into a new rental, before you move anything in, take a video of your walkthrough and mention and point out everything and anything. Mark the date, time, and address. If they give you a small form to write on, make your own. This can save you lots of issues when you move out. Accounting firm. If you complain nicely about a late fee or interest charge etc added to your invoice, it's likely to get cancelled. It's easy to do, and the extra fees are just to discourage people from paying bills late. But if you come back and question it politely, it will be wiped instantly. It's nothing in the grand scheme of things regarding revenue and variances. If it says pre-sort STD in the top right corner of a letter, where the stamp would be, it's most likely trash. If you are wondering what's taking me so long to process your loan application, it's because I forgot about it. The designer that made the instructions that you just got with your table. Microwave. Bike. Never seen that thing. Not a clue. I've got the plans sure, but never seen it. Heartbreaking is a one driving behavior identifier that someone will be in an accident, so just chill. The welds on something can tell you a lot about the quality assurance happening during production. You'll never resell that diamond at a profit if you're not in the industry. Just write that engagement ring off as a financial loss when you walk out of the store with it. Not sure if any of this is a secret, but if you can't find a book at your local library, ask the reference librarian to do an inter-library loan. They have access to large networks of libraries that are able and willing to share materials, sometimes even across state lines depending on the sort of library and request. Also utilize the digital content. We have to pay big bucks and fight with publishing companies to get that content. Ebooks, audiobooks, etc. And they are great resources. Libby and Overdrive are awesome. Many library systems also offer streaming content of movies and TV shows. Oh, and you can check out national park passes and museum tickets too at many libraries. In recording studios, very rarely is a vocal sung all the way through. What you're hearing is each line punched in individually. Almost always. At Starbucks, they have a recycling and trash bin. They both go into the dumpster. People pay money for mulch. Working in the tree trimming industry, we give wood chips away for free. Dump them wherever possible. All mulches is wood chips mixed with different dyes and sold for outrageous prices. You can put fresh wood chips on your beds for free if you contact tree trimmers and let the sun and air oxidize them over a few months. Pro move. If you can get cedar chips, smell heavenly and keep flying insects away from the sap. In real estate, open houses are primarily to get more leads and clients for the agents hosting the open house, not to get your house sold. Had a trauma patient come to the hospital and rack up a huge bill with no insurance. They found out he had recently left a job, paid his COBRA premiums for him, and got his bill mostly paid. Do what you want with that information. US hospitals lie on their bills. All of them. All the time. Push them for a code by code breakdown and watch the total shrink. Ask them to reference each code choice based on physician's notes and it shrinks again. The system literally only benefits the major insurance companies and large hospital systems where the scale hides the impropriety. Stuck bolts usually come out if you can tighten them a touch first. Shh, don't tell anyone my secrets. Debt collector here. Always request validation of debt. You'd be surprised how many accounts just disappear due to poor bookkeeping. Backstage at concerts isn't wild at all. I used to work at an amusement park. Six Flags. The food is like $30 for a cheeseburger type bullcrap, but if you go in those fences that say employees only, there's usually some kind of employee food court nearby. When I worked there, employees could use the food court on their off days, even without a uniform, and pay cash. So after I quit, I'd just go there with friends and family and get full plates of burgers and stuff for like $5. Nobody ever said anything or suspected that we weren't employees. Was a nice way to save money when you're already spending a fortune on tickets and games. All I'll say is wash the tops of your canned goods before opening them, folks. For the love of God, do it. Wash your produce. That coffin you paid £3k to burn your mum in, well, we can legally sell it another 3 times and you get cremated in a cardboard box.